joined by Scotty and Ekman. This is episode 2 of season 2. Also, remember you can be a monthly supporter of our podcast. The link is in the description box below. How are you boys doing tonight?
Good.
Doing pretty good.
Good, good.
Solid.
Josh, you feeling better?
I'm feeling a little bit better. Still a little
Good.
scratchy throat, but yeah, definitely was under the weather last week. But no, I'm getting back to 100%. Hopefully.
You only have 5 more sick days, just so you know. So use them
Okay.
sparingly.
All right.
Yeah.
Do I have any
We're
like
only in-
PTO days or anything like that, or vacation days?
Nope.
No,
Oh, okay. All
we don't take no breaks, dog.
right. It's good to
Except
know.
for
Good to know.
Christmas.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything you guys been ripping this week or what? Any new
No,
rips?
I haven't. The only ripping I did was in your break. On when
What
was
a
that?
break
Was that
was,
Thursday?
wasn't it?
Yeah, was that Thursday?
Thursday night, yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun break.
Yeah, it was
Think-
crazy.
What Jared hit Julio Rodriguez out of 5, and then the Wander Franco auto out of 15, was it?
Yeah. So he had what's up, Jared? There. Yeah. So he pulled the Julio Rodriguez 1 out of 5 out of the capstone, and he pulled the Wander Franco 1988 Retro Series autograph, and it was numbered to 15.
Yeah, those
So-
are nice. The rest of the break
On
was
top
really
of
good too.
everything else, yeah. Yeah, you got that Wade Boggs autograph
Yep,
mini
the Wade-
helmet.
Yeah, which I think I'll probably sell at my next show. I think I had discussed this a little bit on the last show, but I think what I'm gonna do is probably just I might get out of rip and ships and do shows only. I might do that.
Okay.
I felt it was a little bit easier to sell stuff, and this way I always have the opportunity to keep whatever cards I rip if I want them for my PC or if I want to sell them. And then I'm pretty much taking the money that I got from this last show, and I'm investing it into slabbing up a whole bunch of cards. I got a couple of I've been going through cards trying to check the centering, the corners, all that fun stuff, just to kind of see what might go as a 10. And I'm just going to send probably, I don't know, 20 to 30 cards on my first send off. My brother's got a bunch of cards he's going to send off too. And then from there, hopefully that'll just get things rolling, and I'll just constantly be able to slap cards up. I saw an interesting video, and this was actually, I thought this was pretty smart. This guy was talking about his best when it comes to profit, and the easiest way he makes really good money is he takes $3, $4, or $5 cards, sends those in to get graded, and as long as they come back at 10, he can sell them for about like $35, $40. So what happens is, it's like PSA right now. If you send in the bulk order, it's $19 a card. So let's just say it's a $5 card, right? And so you're into it 19, and it comes back at 10. So you're into it 19 for the grade, $5 if you purchase the card. So you're into it 24. But if you can turn around and sell it for, let's just say 40, right? That's $16 profit. You just turned a $5 card into a $16 card. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep.
So but that's the only downside is you just never know what's going to come back at 10. It just seems like the grading is so inconsistent that something comes back at 9, you'd be lucky to break even.
Right,
But
yeah.
on those, anything that comes back at 10, obviously you're gonna make good money. So
Yeah.
So what company do you want to go with?
I think I'm gonna go with PSA. I want to go with SGC, but I don't know. When I was at the show, everyone just was really interested in just PSA slabs. That just seems to be what most people were looking into. So it's just, yeah, as Jared says, the PSA dartboard. That's literally how I feel about it. It's very inconsistent, but that's kind of what I think I'm going to get into, as far as I just enjoyed the show atmosphere instead of ripping. Then I don't know. It takes a lot of time in my eyes for ripping ships. It can take a lot of time, and sometimes the profit margin can be kind of slim, as opposed to like at a show. You you set your own prices and not have to worry about it. If you don't
right.
sell it, you don't sell it. And most people are willing to, as long as you're like fair priced, most people buy it for what the price you have out there. You get the occasional guys like, they buy 5, 6, 7 things, and then, they want to take a few dollars off, which is fine. But you just maybe what you do is like add $5 to each card, every card that you're trying to sell, as far as like slabs or just like any autos, real nice. Because, when people come up to me like, hey, can you make a deal? I'll just take $5 off, and then I get it for what I originally wanted.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like
Yeah.
my strategy in that. So that's what
that's
I'll
kind
be
of
looking
what
at
I.
doing.
That's kind of what I do. I told you guys here recently in the last month or so, I have a flea market site down in Myrtle Beach where I have my second house out down there, and it's crazy, the flea market world. Like I didn't know what it was all about when I got into it, especially when it comes to sports cards. So we have like $1 table, and pretty much every card you can think of on that table is $1, which is still pretty good stuff. Like people go crazy for that stuff. We sell that constantly all day long. But where I really do well though is when I go down for the 2 weeks I usually go down during the month. I have my own like little black briefcase, which I have all my good stuff in, like good slabs, good raw, rookies, whatever it is. And at the flea market, no matter what, it's probably a lot different than a show, but people are coming in there, they're trying to get deals. It's a flea market, so that's kind of like the mentality behind it. And so I always have to price my stuff a couple dollars higher than what I would really want to get out of it, because even though like when they come in, they want to get a deal. So I'll try to get them down to where I want to be. And then I'll maybe even go a little lower. If it's something that I know I can, like I have enough room to move on, I'll even go a little bit lower than what I want to go, just to get them really happy and have them come back. And it's the one nice thing about, like you said, about a show or a flea market or whatever it is, you kind of set what you want to sell your stuff for. And someone comes in and you kind of get that bad vibe that they're just trying to like lowball you, then you just kind of tell them like, no, this is where you're stuck at. Like you can't move on it, and they go on their way.
Yeah, I like the show atmosphere too. Like my wife was helping me, which by the way, she's watching on YouTube, so it works. Unlike last week, it didn't work. So she said we look good, so that's all that matters. So, but yeah, she'll help me at the shows, and like I said last week, it's just kind of hard because I need to train her up on the players. Because when I walk like 10 feet away to see what other people got, like, someone comes up talking about, oh yeah, Justin Herbert's going to throw for like 400 yards. And she's like, oh yeah, babe, I need help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. People, and they come for like the same names every single time. It's like, do you have any Joe Burrow? Do you have any Jamar Chase? Do you have any, all the big names? Like, but I'm like, I got other cool stuff. Yeah. But you got like Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert or
Yep.
Like, okay, but so yeah. Who do you guys got for the Super Bowl? It's next week.
Yeah, Scotty, you must be a little heartbroken right now, I'm assuming. That game.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know.
I mean, nothing. Sorry about your loss, but I will say I sold like a couple of Trey Lance cards right after that loss, so I was happy.
Yeah, I'll get into his cards later on. I got a little list of some NFL players I'm gonna suggest buying in the off season, but I think it's gonna be a good game. The only thing I don't know if KC's defense can stop Philadelphia's offense.
I think Philly's defense can stop KC. If any defense is going to stop someone, it's going to be Philly stopping KC.
Yeah, so we'll find out if Patrick Mahomes. It's also going to depend on Patrick Mahomes' ankle, if he's like back to 100%, because he was really struggling on some of those scrambles last week. But 2 weeks off can do wonders for an ankle. So we'll see. I think if Patrick Mahomes is able to be his normal mobile self, I think that will give the Eagles some issues, because they do have a really good defensive line. They led the NFL in sacks. So if he's not mobile and the Eagles are constantly able to get to him, it is game over. But if he's able to be mobile and move out of the pocket and extend plays and go into like that backyard football that Patrick Mahomes does, then I think it's going to be a close game and Kansas City will have a chance. But right now I'm leaning more towards Philadelphia, about 55-45 is what I got right now.
Does anybody know the line of the game? Like what? Who? I'm assuming. Oh, I guess I don't know. But is KC the
I'll
favorite?
tell you right now, I had it pulled up right here, right before we went live.
Because I was actually going to determine that before I.
Because I actually wanted to
honestly,
talk
I
about a
would
couple of
think-
side bets, but
I would think people are going to say.
so the money
Kansas
line
City.
is plus 1.5. Kansas City plus 1.5.
So the Eagles are the favorite. Wow.
Thank
I mean,
you,
which
Mike.
doesn't surprise me, but I still with KC going in, they've already won one here, wherever recently in the last few years. I mean that's a tough one, but I will say though the Eagles do look a lot better. I mean, they kind of beat up on the Niners. They kind of beat up on the team who they played before that.
The Giants.
Giants. Yeah, so they beat up on the two teams already, and KC, in my eyes, barely got through the Bengals, and I really believe the Bengals should have won that game. So I think it was a lot to do with Burrow throwing that interception, and then a couple bad calls and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the Eagles are going to be a really, really big favorite. I think they're going to probably win unless Mahomes has one of those games that Mahomes can't have. Yeah.
Well, the other thing is experience too. You know,
yep, that's why I was thinking that the KC would honestly almost be favorite because of the experience that they do have, and then with the Eagles coming with Hurts and kind of a team that just didn't play well last year and stuff. So,
well, you weren't here last week, Josh, and I did mention to Scotty that when we did our middle of the season bets of, you said Tom Brady would be in the Super Bowl. I won that bet because I'm the closest. I did say Eagles were going to be in the Super Bowl.
Oh, you did?
I wish the Bills would have done their part, but they didn't.
Didn't you say the Bills were going to win though too?
I did say the Bills were going to win. However,
yeah,
Eagles are in the Super Bowl, and I said that. So,
all right, yeah.
But what do you guys think about the Super Bowl MVP? Who do you guys think he'll take that? Early predictions.
Whatever team wins quarterback is going to be either Mahomes.
I'm assuming.
Oh, you think it's a quarterback either way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, unless something happens and they both play very bad, and like a running back goes off or a defensive player has a couple interceptions or sacks, something like that. But I mean, 9 chances out of 10 every single time that anybody's gonna win, it's gonna be a quarterback usually. But
it was still a good game for sure. Bills didn't look the same after Von Miller injury and Josh Allen. Yeah. That's the problem. Is injuries kind of riddled them a little bit, and Chargers suffered them too. Like everyone says, Justin Herbert didn't have as good a year. Well, all his weapons were hurt. What are you gonna do?
Yep.
Travis Kelce MVP. Kansas City wins unless we touchdown. Now, if Travis Kelce wins, I'll put a bet on that because the odds are plus 1,000. So that'd be a nice little side wager of Travis Kelce winning.
Yeah, I'm assuming I'm assuming Hurts and Mahomes are leading the MVP.
Oh yeah, that's like plus 125, plus 125,
exactly.
and minus 130. So, by the way, anyone that's listening, we have 6 people watching. If you're not subscribed already, we are live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. So make sure you drop a subscribe, leave some love in the comments too that you're watching, and all that good stuff. So, Scotty, I know you want to talk about players to collect next year. So I think this will be a fun little topic to talk about.
Yeah. So with the end of the football season going on, there's a couple guys that if I was collecting football, there's a couple guys that I would look at, and one of them is really going to probably surprise some people because of the year that he just had. But I think he's going into a better situation than what he was last year, and there was a lot of hype around him. So Russell Wilson is a guy I would actually be looking at buying. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. Now Sean Payton is the coach over there. And let's be real. When was the last time, Sean Payton had a bad year? Like, he had Drew Brees, and he had Drew Brees as his quarterback, but he's a good coach. There's a reason, Denver wasn't afraid to give up draft picks for him. I think he can turn this thing around. He's really good with quarterbacks. He's a great offensive minded coach. I just don't think Hassett was a very good fit over there in Denver. And I think it showed. Russell Wilson definitely had an off year. Now, surprisingly, did you guys know he was actually 13th in passing yards?
Really?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So it was
just couldn't get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, that was the problem. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that has to do with Wilson's decision making or anything like that. And another thing is a lot of times a guy will go to a new team and he'll struggle for a while.
Yeah.
It happens. Russell Wilson's been, his first 9 years over there in Seattle, same system, same coach, same atmosphere.
Yep.
You move along and who knows, maybe the pressure got to him a little bit. I don't know. But I think Russell Wilson, and you can get his cards for like next to nothing right now.
Yep.
So to me, it's not a bad investment, because if he does start, Russell Wilson is at the end of his career, he is going to be a Hall of Famer. I have no doubts about that. It's just he had the bad year. So if he can get his stuff for low right now and he ends up doing really well, which I think he's going to, I think he's going to turn around. I think he could have another, 4,000 yard season, maybe like 25, 30 touchdowns. And I think he's going to bring his picks back down because, he double digit picks is not Russell Wilson like, and there was also a lot of injuries to that team. Another guy I'm collecting from that team that I would suggest collecting right now too is Javonte Williams, the running back.
Yeah.
I think that's another guy. Yep. I think that's another guy I would look to buying right now. I think he's going to come back ready to go next year. And staying with running backs, Breece Hall. He was just starting.
Thinking of him.
He was just starting to take off.
Yep.
Before he got hurt, and depending on what the Jets quarterback situation is, whether they end up going after Aaron Rodgers, I could see Jimmy Garoppolo going over there since he does have ties to Robert Saleh, and I think no matter what, the Jets are going to have a better quarterback situation than what they did last year, which is going to open up the run game, which is going to open it up for Breece Hall. And I think he comes out, probably has like as long as he's fully ready and fully recovered. If everything's ready to go by week 1, I could see him having a 1,300 yard season on the ground.
Yeah.
I just wonder I
just wonder how James Robinson's going to affect him with him being up there now.
Nothing. Because James Robinson came in and didn't do anything even after Hall got hurt. Remember, because they traded for James Robinson after Hall got hurt. And James Robinson, and he didn't even look good himself. It's just James Robinson, I wouldn't even look at as a threat. Maybe he might be like a guy that'll occasionally, spell him. But they also got Michael Carter over there.
That's what I was thinking. He had a decent season this year.
Yeah, so I think Breece Hall would be the guy that I would buy over there. Another guy is T. Higgins. Speaking about so T. Higgins is I don't think he's going to stay with Cincinnati, and he's going to sign a nice contract somewhere, and he's going to be the number 1 option. He's not going to be in Jamar Chase's shadow, so he's a guy I would maybe look and buy right now. Another wide receiver is Chris Olave. They just need he just needs himself a quarterback that can get him the ball. He had a few really good weeks towards like the middle of the season, and he kind of fell off, but I don't think it was as much him as it was the quarterback play was just garbage.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's another guy. So, and now here's the good stuff. Okay. So speaking about, Trey Lance. So Trey Lance right now, I would buy, and then I would sell him because I don't think he's going to stay. I would
sell him definitely at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I would even trade. The hype's going to come back on him, like what you said. You immediately sold some Lance for Purdy got hurt, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So everyone's going to go right back on Trey Lance, little bandwagon, and
Brock Purdy's not going to be in his way either. I mean, Brock Purdy's out next year, Tommy John surgery.
They end up getting Tommy John.
Yeah, that's what I read, that he was getting Tommy John surgery, and that was for sure.
Oh, so Trey Lance will be in all year then.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no competition at that point for Trey Lance. Brock Purdy won't be there.
Okay, I didn't even see that update. I didn't even see that Brock Purdy was going to get Tommy John. I know.
He tore his UCL.
Yeah, because I know they had said that he was going to have surgery and he was only going to be out 6 months. That was the last report that I read, and that they were going to battle it out in training camp. In fact, I had just read that earlier today. If let's just say Purdy doesn't have Tommy John, The only thing that's going to be holding Brock Purdy back is going to be his arm strength as he recovers. So I don't think come week 1 he'll be ready. I don't think his arm strength will be there. So, and I think the other thing too is that the Niners were smart. They're going to need to make a decision. They can't keep both these guys in the building. It's got to be one or the other. You got to let whoever they're going to they got to hand the keys to one of these guys, and they're going to have to get rid of the other one. It's just that simple. So if I was the Niners, after seeing what I have already in Brock Purdy, I would give Trey Lance the first 4 weeks of the season. Okay, let's see what we have in Lance. Okay, because you do. And then on top of that, everyone already knows what they have with Brock Purdy. And then now you need to show people what you have in Lance. That way, if they go to trade Lance, people have tape on them.
There's
People
trade
know what's
value.
going on. Yeah. So that's something they need to do. So if the Niners are smart, they're going to need to let Trey Lance play for a while, at least a good month. And if Trey Lance ends up playing like the guy that they thought he was and that they drafted, then I could see them actually moving Brock Purdy. If just because of because of the initial investment. Yeah, I was just gonna say just because the initial investment is the only reason I think they would make that decision.
Yeah, I think I mean all those are actually all very good ones. I think right now because I don't obviously buy to collect as much as I sell. So I think as a seller's mindset for me, I'm right now pushing hard on 2 quarterbacks. Kyle Trask, because right now he's the only QB in Tampa Bay. I don't know if they're going to pick someone up in the draft. I don't know if they're going to make a trade, what they're going to do. But right now I'm selling him as much as I can but I could be wrong there because he could come in next year and have a great season and I might have sold him way too low. But I'm trying to get a decent amount of his stuff gone because this is the time that you're probably going to sell it to get rid of it if they do bring someone in because he's probably not going to get that chance. Also, Jordan Love. I've sold a couple good cards of his already. I don't know if he's the answer in Green Bay, so we're going to find out. But I do think right now at this point, they're going to go with him unless they do a trade or something like that to bring someone big in. But with Aaron Rodgers leaving there, that leaves up kind of the set Rodgers had when Favre left. And I don't know if Love can be that player, but I do know that people are going to buy him crazy right now going into the next season. And then Garoppolo. I love Garoppolo. I don't think Garoppolo is going to be a great one, but if you look at what he's done since he got to the Niners, he took him to the Super Bowl. Did he take him to the AFC Championship game and lost 1 year? I think he did. Okay, so he took him to the Super Bowl, took him to an AFC Championship game, and then he got hurt 1 or 2 years. He's been hurt, so he just hasn't had really the time to prove what he can do over time. So I think buying Garoppolo right now is a pretty big because you're going to probably get him pretty low. I think. So I think buying Garoppolo is pretty big. Mike says Sam from Carolina.
Sam Howell is who he's talking about.
Yeah,
Carolina is going to need a quarterback.
Yeah, with Baker out of there now too. I think honestly, there's a lot of good young guys right now. I think Desmond Ridder in Atlanta. I know he didn't put up numbers at the end of the year when he was playing, but I think if they can form him into a good QB, he could be a big one. Malik Willis in Tennessee, he didn't get a lot of opportunities. I don't know how much longer Ryan Tannehill has. He could be good. Kenny Pickett, he had a okay year. I'm not even a Pittsburgh fan, but I'll admit that he had an okay year. Pittsburgh loves him, and he's going to get a chance. And they had a good end of the year last year. The last 7 games or so, they played really well. So he's a good one to buy right now. So there's a lot of young QBs right now, and I believe the next draft class is going to be pretty big. So,
yeah, I'm not a fan of any of the quarterbacks last year that were drafted.
No,
I'm not a fan of.
I think Kenny Pickett's the only one now that has any promise really that has proved anything yet so far.
And and another guy that no one's talked about out there, and I don't even think I've even seen any of his cards sell is Al Jair, the running back.
Yeah.
He came on super strong at the end of the year. Now I don't know if he's going to retain the starting job or anything like that, but he's maybe another guy just to kind of maybe. I don't think he'll ever be like a big stud, but
I think that'll be hard there.
But if he runs like that for a full year, he would be like a top 12 running back.
Yeah.
As far as
Yeah,
stats go.
Patterson. He's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, Cordell Patterson, but he's like 30. He's going to be
But
I
he's
think,
getting-
32.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's getting old, so he's more just passing. So yeah, I think that's a good opportunity there, depending on who they pick up in the draft and stuff. But that's a good opportunity there to pick him up too.
Yeah, and here's another strategy that a lot of guys they don't talk about too much. Look for guys that are going into their contract year. And what I mean by that is their last year, if they're on their last year of the contract. A couple players that come to mind that had really good years that haven't. Josh Jacobs is the first guy that comes to mind. All right. He hasn't really been that great in Vegas. And then all of a sudden this year, I think he ended up leading the NFL in rushing, didn't he? He was 1 or 2, right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was real close. He had a couple of games there where he was hurt, so I don't know if that hurt him or not. But I'm pretty sure he was either leading or real close to it.
Daniel Jones came out of nowhere. He had a career year, obviously, and then Saquon Barkley is another guy that all of a sudden stayed healthy, had another. What Saquon did this year is what we've always been expecting Saquon to do. Ever since he came out of college and his rookie year, he tore it up. Then he had a couple of years where he was injured, but now he's going to be signing a new contract. So to me, just look at guys that are going to be on their contract years and pick them up over the offseason because they're going to be looking to be playing for a big contract, and that could really pick up. And then once they sign that contract, that's when I would sell their card. There's a lot of times. How many times have you seen? Okay, Daniel Jones, I'll use him as a great example. His whole career, he hasn't been very good. He hasn't been. And in this last year, contract year, does great. He takes him, to the second round of the playoffs. They beat the Vikings that first round. You would not expect that out of Daniel Jones, but he's playing for a contract. Now, after he signs his contract, does he stay playing good, or does he go back to being kind of, ass, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
So
I think it just depends on the team. I think with Daniel Jones, it's hard to tell with Daniel Jones because one, was he playing because it's a contract year? Was he playing that good, or was he playing because I do believe the Giants finally got good enough team around him that did help him, and Barkley stayed healthy all year long, which he hasn't really done, I don't think, his whole career yet. So that probably helped a little bit. So that's gonna be a hard one to guess on. If did Daniel Jones do that? Was it a fluke thing, or is it maybe the becoming of Daniel Jones that he might be maybe somewhat the real deal there in New York?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was drafted in the first round. He was, I think, pick number 8. Overall, he was the one quarterback that people were like throwing their hands up. I remember watching reactions of Giants fans to Daniel Jones being selected, and they're just like, "What?"
Yeah.
So, but Mike says, "Does it depend on Saquon staying healthy too?" Yeah, very much.
He was a big part of that this year. He snapped this year. Saquon, it would really depend on him being healthy for sure.
Yep. Yeah, but I think that helps
so.
tremendously.
The two players I like Aiden Hutchinson. I want to collect some of him. I like him, and I like Drake London from Atlanta. Drake London had a pretty good first year.
He had a really good year. Yeah.
Yeah. I was pulling up some of his stats. He had let's see, his longest was 40 year. He averaged 12 yards a reception, and he had 866 yards and 72 receptions, 4 touchdowns. So that's not a bad first year, and I think that he could get better.
Who was his quarterback for the beginning of the year? That's rare to come until the end.
He came in at the end, yeah.
Shoot, why can I not? Now I cannot remember.
I don't know why it's so far off.
No, but it was no one special. It's a guy that's been bouncing around.
I don't know why I can't think of that.
Why I can't think of it. But he didn't have anyone.
You have to look it up now, Lucky, because it's gonna bother me.
I got 2 laptops right now, so
there you
I feel like I'm in the Matrix.
What do you think? Right what do you guys think of Geno Smith? What's gonna happen there?
He's a free agent, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, okay, so Seattle does have the number 5 pick.
Logan Woodside?
No.
Logan Woodside?
No.
It was him and Desmond Ritter, it says.
No, it's
There had to have been
I
someone
cannot
else.
believe
Marcus Mariota.
There
there
we
you
go,
go, Marcus
Yeah,
Mariota.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
So,
what were you just asking right now again?
Geno Smith. Geno Smith.
Yeah, thank you.
yeah,
Sorry.
Geno Smith.
Okay. So with Geno Smith, I don't know. It's going to depend on what Seattle wants to do because Seattle started the most rookies out of any team in the NFL this year, and they still
Yeah.
made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now they also have the number 5 pick that they got in the trade for Russell Wilson. So they're actually in position to either maybe draft a quarterback. They can maybe sign Geno Smith to a 1-year deal, have him sit behind Smith, and in the following year that that quarterback take over. Or they could even they're probably going to end up drafting. This is what I actually think. I think they signed Geno Smith maybe to a couple year deal, and maybe they draft a quarterback like in the second, maybe third round. Or they go ahead and they do draft a quarterback at the number 5 pick, or they even trade that draft pick and even get draft picks later on down the line. Because there's a lot of teams. There's some pretty decent quarterbacks coming out in this draft, and there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be an interesting one to watch throughout the year. Because he played so well, Geno, but like, can you trust him though? And that's what's hard because he only has 1 year really of like tape basically to say what he did for a whole year in the season. Now it's just last year, so you don't know if it was a fluke or not, and do they take the risk and don't go after a QB in the draft, or at least one in the first couple rounds, or do they not trade for a good QB? So yeah, that's gonna be a tough decision on Seattle. I don't know what their fan base is really hoping for, but yeah, it's gonna be a tough one.
A couple of names I'm kind of curious about in free agency. One I don't expect to go anywhere. One could go somewhere. I'll go with the one I think could go somewhere. What about Josh Jacobs? He might try to test the market now that Derek Carr's gone too.
He has said that he wants to stay. He said he wants to stay.
Really?
Yeah, I think Rodgers. If Rodgers season plays in the NFL, I think there's a chance he goes to Oakland.
You think he'll go to Oakland? He already said he's not going to the 49ers.
Yeah,
sorry,
I think that if he stays, I don't know if he's going to retire or not, but if he stays and plays, I think there's a chance because him and Devontae wants him to come there, and then I think if Josh Jacobs is the type of player that wants to win, I think he would probably stay because they know they have a good QB coming in to take over. So yeah, I don't know what will happen there, but I don't know what's gonna happen with Derek Carr either. I don't know where he's gonna go. I'm sure. I mean, someone's gonna he's gonna go somewhere. He's not a bad QB. It might be the system more than anything, but he's definitely gonna go somewhere too. I just don't know where we're at. Yeah.
Well, and the free agent that I said I don't think is going to go anywhere, Lamar Jackson. I don't think that Baltimore is going to even let him touch the market. They're going to snag him up.
Yeah, I would say unless they're going to trade, they're dumb if they do that. I mean,
well, you got to understand too. The one big thing that in this whole free agent thing about where quarterbacks are going to go, the Bears have the number 1 pick, and we don't really need a quarterback. I have faith in Fields. I would like to keep Fields. So where would they trade that pick? Who really needs that number 1 pick right now? Because you have free agents and you have. I said it last week. I'd like Michael Pittman to go to Chicago. Trade Michael Pittman and some picks. Trade back. What do they have? The 6th pick. Bears get the 6th pick and Michael Pittman. I think that'd be a good thing for them.
Yeah,
they have pick. Yeah, the Colts have pick 4, but I don't think they're going to give the Bears pick 4 and Michael Pittman. I don't see that happening. It's going to end up. It's just going to end up being. It'll just be like how it normally is. It'll just be draft picks only.
I don't know. I don't think the Bears have that much confidence in Fields.
They should. I mean, he's a great quarterback. I think he just don't have the weapons around him.
I think he's very good. I just don't know.
He don't have an offensive line. So what did he do last year? He ran more than like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers whole running team.
Jared has the best take there. Bears will waste whatever pick they have.
Yeah. usually we do. However, we have new management in place.
Yeah, if they trade, it'll probably be a bad trade anyway. So
we have new management in place. I don't know. I think that they're gonna, if they take the number 1 pick and they draft like a defensive player, I'm gonna just bash my head against the wall because you keep working on defense, but what are you gonna do for Fields? You need offense to score. You can't just defend all the time. You have to score
Yep.
some points. And
Yep.
Fields can't run 90 yards a game to do that,
Nope.
90 to 100 yards a game.
And,
So
and this is just, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a league that you have whatever good defense you want to have. You still got to put up 20-some points a game to win. And it's just the way it goes. I mean, look at the Broncos. They had one of the best defenses in the league, and it shows that and I think I saw a stat towards the end of the season that if the Broncos would have scored just like, I think it was 18 to 19 points or more a game in the games that they lost, they would have been like they would only had two losses all season. I mean, that's just crazy. All they would have to do is get a couple more touchdowns in each game, and they would have won every game because their defense kept every team under like 20 points. Yeah. So that shows right there that it's not about like the defense. I get it. Yeah, you want to have a good defense, but you need a quarterback that can go up and down the field and score at any time. And that's why you see teams like Philadelphia and Kansas City and Buffalo and the Bengals that have all these four great quarterbacks, and they're in the playoffs all the time, and they're scoring a ton of points.
Did we talk about that too already? We were talking about Saquon, but he's a free agent. I didn't know that. I don't think you guys mentioned that, and I missed you. Yeah.
That's what I was saying on the list with Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Jacobs are three guys that were in contract years and they went crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like when you're looking at players to buy in the offseason, look who's going to be on a contract year.
Yeah.
That's those guys. So Mike wants, where does Jimmy G go? I think Houston or the Jets. I don't think Houston. I don't think he's going to go. I don't think Garoppolo,
he's going to want to win. He's going to do it in Houston. Yeah.
No, I think I could see the Jets, and I know we were talking about Trask, but I could see him going to Tampa Bay as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But here's my problem. If I'm a GM, I look at Garoppolo's injury history. Yep. And that's going to scare me a little bit because he's had only 1 year where he played the whole year. Yep. Actually, the year that they went to the Super Bowl, I think that was the only year he played all year where he didn't miss any time. Otherwise, he's missed significant time. Yep. His second year, he tore his ACL. This last year, fractures his foot. He's just always banged up. Just always. Yeah, it's like he gets sacked once and he's out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If I got a young good team and I'm looking to compete, Garoppolo is really hard for me to buy on. He really is. I would have to put something into a contract that he's got to play either a certain amount of snaps or like a percentage of the team's offensive snaps for him to get fully paid.
Yeah. There's Jared. Yeah, the Bears O-line finished 10th, which actually is not that bad. They need wide receiver and tight end. Although I do agree on the wide receiver. Tight end, though, I like Cole Kmet. I don't know if he's going to stay, but I do like Cole Kmet. I think he's going to be a good option there at tight end if they can get him going. But yeah, they definitely. That's the thing with the Bears. They definitely need receivers and they need them back.
And the problem is that there's no good wide receivers coming out the free agency. T. Higgins right now is really T. Higgins is really the only guy that is going to be like a true number one wide receiver that you can get. Yep. So if I'm Chicago, do I throw a bunch of money at T. Higgins? Do I try to draft a couple wide receivers and hope I hit? Regardless, the Bears offense is still not this year, but maybe the following year. That's when maybe they might start hitting the stride. Because isn't David Montgomery? He's a free agent as well, correct?
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is, I've been watching the games. So like the Bears O-line isn't as terrible as I make them out to be, but they're not great. I mean, David Montgomery couldn't do what David Montgomery is capable of. And I did misspeak. In my head, I was trying to say wide receiver. Because we do need wide receiver help. That's why I said if we trade the number one pick, you got to get something on the offense. Like I get, you need defense, but I mean, we just can't do that in the first round. You need someone solid, a good weapon for Fields to be good. I'd love T. Higgins to come here, or like I said, I like Michael Pittman a lot in the Colts. I think that'd be a good package, something up to get him. You have a number one pick that's very valuable, and the Colts, they haven't had a good quarterback in how long? I mean, Matt Ryan wasn't really good for them. So, I mean, they need a quarterback. And I think they would do anything to get that number one pick to do that. So,
Yeah, look at so Mike is saying Calvin Ridley comes back next year for Jacksonville. They could trade a wide receiver to Chicago. The only thing about that, Mike, is I don't
They
know
have
if I
Trevor
would.
Lawrence.
Yeah, is I Jacksonville right now. If Calvin Ridley comes back and plays like he had before he got suspended, I wouldn't trade any of those wide receivers. I know. Who is it? DJ Chark, I think. No, he ended up playing
No,
with
Chark is in
right,
Detroit,
DJ
I
Chark.
think.
He's in Detroit, huh? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he came
No,
from
Marvin.
there
I think
is
it's Marvin Jones. And
there's someone that's a free agent from Jacksonville. One of those wide receivers is, but I don't think it's a
Yeah.
big deal because they're gonna have Ridley here back. So that offense could be pretty good over there in Jacksonville. Is
Oh
long as
yeah,
Ridley
I
can
mean,
go
yeah,
back to what he was.
they were good this year already with having that Ridley out. So I mean, yeah, they're going to be that much better when he comes back. So,
And I really like Trevor Lawrence there. He's gonna. I mean, he has a couple more weapons. Dude, he's
him
gonna
and
snap.
him and ETN are going to be a good good pair for years to come.
For sure.
As long as they stay healthy and they stay together, I think both of them two together, and then Jacksonville. Don't get me wrong; they have good receivers, but they don't have a true number one receiver, like a go up and grab it type receiver, like Jamar Chase or someone like that. So they'll probably look at the draft, maybe not this year, but here in the next couple years, they'll look to get someone that's going to be that go to guy. And if they get that go to guy paired up with Trevor and ETN, yeah, that's going to be a pretty hard team there to beat on offense side.
Well, that's what we need in Chicago. We need a true number one because I mean, Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool. Yeah, they're good, but I mean, Fields needs someone he could just bomb it to that's going to go up and get it, and we don't have that. We really need something like, and I think that would help the Bears. I mean, and it would help us in the division too. I mean, if Rodgers don't come back and they get a couple of good pieces in place, I mean, we could be contending with the Vikings there. We don't have the right pieces in place. I like Fields. I have confidence in him, though. So
I actually think Detroit wins that division next year.
You think so?
Dude,
they had a good year.
Look, I'm going to tell you this: the way that they finished the season, I was like, man, I would not want to play Detroit right now. Going into that first round of the playoffs, they're young. They finally started to hit stride. And they're going to do things. Hey, another thing I forgot to mention to you guys, since we're on the football train, did you know that the Eagles have 3 first-round picks?
Dude, I don't. Where did they get those dangerous
from? I didn't look into where they got it, but I was kind of reading up on the draft, and I didn't realize that. Yeah, they have 3.
That's crazy.
First-round picks. Yeah,
thinking that they got AJ Brown last off season, and they still have 3 first-round picks going into this season.
Yep.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I mean they could end up really loading up on some first round talent and just But and the one thing is that though they're pretty solid everywhere.
I was just gonna say sometimes you get too good that now you're looking more at like O line, D line, defensive back, stuff like that. They can start.
They don't need
up on,
The D-line, they're fine. I didn't look into what their free agency looks like or their salary cap. I just thought it was interesting that they had 3 first-round picks with as good of a team as they are. So Mike says, after Brady retiring, what do you have as the favorites to win that division now? No one did great this year. It could be Atlanta. Man, I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't think any of those teams are going to be good. I mean, Tampa Bay still has the best roster on paper, but it's going to
depends who they bring in.
Yeah, it's going to depend on that quarterback situation. If they roll with Trask and he ends up being pretty decent, because I don't know. Have you guys? I don't even know how good Trask is.
I don't. Yeah, I have no clue. Other than he hasn't had a chance to do anything. So that's why.
I mean, you don't really bring him in for Brady.
That's why I'm at a point right now with card wise. I'm probably just trying to sell him as much as I can because I don't know how he's gonna end up doing it. And I don't want to be holding the bag on Kyle Trask whenever I have no clue how he's going to play. So
there was a guy that came in. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think in my eyes, depending on who Tampa Bay brings in at quarterback, if they do bring someone, they're the clear-cut favorite right at this point. But Atlanta, depending on what they do at the quarterback with Desmond Ridder or Mariota, and Sam Howell, I don't know if he's going to be any good, but depending on what Carolina does there. And then also same thing with New Orleans. I don't know if Andy Dalton is the answer down there. Obviously, I don't think he is. So I think it's going to be depending on whatever the 4 teams bring in the best quarterback. I think that's who's going to be winning the division. I think it's just that I think all 4 teams are pretty equal, and it just depends on what quarterback's going to be there in each position.
Scotty, are you sure they have 3 picks, the Eagles? Because I looked at the first round, I think they only got 2.
Unless they got rid of one, I just looked and I counted 3.
Because I see them at pick 30. Let's see, and then I don't see. They have pick 10.
I want to say there was somewhere around like 17 or 18.
Unless they traded in the middle of the season.
No, unless I read wrong. Unless I read wrong.
That is dangerous, though, that they could,
they could win. Yeah, even 2 is going to be dangerous.
Yeah, the thing is, they could win the Super Bowl and have a top 10 pick. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just going to only add to it,
Yeah, and going back to Trask, I had a guy at the show buy a stack of my Trask cards.
Mm-hmm.
So he's
Did Brady retire before your show?
No, he hadn't. He had not retired yet. He hadn't retired, but
cheap.
Yeah, you know what was selling a lot? That man, the dollar cards. Everybody wanted to jump on the dollar card freaking.
I'm telling you, it's the flea market mindset. We got to put those dollar cards out there. I'm telling you, it's crazy. In card shows, flea markets, whatever it is, people they see dollar signs and they just see dollar cards because you put cards out there. I mean, you could easily get a decent card and flip it for $3 and just make profit off it. So, yeah, I get that mindset now.
Or if you buy a bunch of trash cards for $1 and you turn around and grade them and he ends up starting, prices are going to go up. So it's a good way. It's a good way to make money.
Yep,
absolutely.
Yep.
There's a new grading company I kind of want to try. FCG, you heard of them? Forensic card grading.
I feel like I have heard of them. I haven't seen any of their slabs yet, but I have heard of them.
They put like a small little report card on the bottom of the sticker on the top, like corners got 9.0 or whatever. And they're like super cheap. And they guarantee you, like, if you don't get your card from the time they receive it within 10 business days, then they refund you for the grading. So they're pretty good. They're up and coming. I kind of want to send a couple to them.
That's what's so hard right now. That's what's so hard right now with these grading companies is there's so many companies out there. Like I have, I bought a huge lot of slabs from Arena Club. It's a Derek Jeter owned company that they bought out TGT, I think it was. And what I love about these slabs is they're like a PSA slab, but they have on the back they have the subgrades, corners, edges, surface, and whatever. And I just think that's like such a cool addition that like PSA. How can you not get behind that and do that? Like that makes so much more sense. That if someone sees that there's a 9 whatever and it's everything's good except for like the surface, like that. I mean, it just gives you that little bit better of a understanding of why that card came back the way it did. So I do like the Arena Club or that one there. I think HGA does that. Maybe I can't remember if they do that or not on their slabs.
HGA does. Yeah, they
do. Okay, I thought they do. So yeah, I like if you can find a place that subgrades, I think that's great. And I just think down the road, PSA event. I think eventually it's gonna get to a point down the road where it's not gonna matter anymore what slab you have and who it is. It's just gonna I think they're all gonna be kind of intertwined.
Yeah.
And the more companies that come out that's doing grading, the more competitiveness there's going to be out there. And if you got one company willing to do cards for $12 and then your PSA and you're doing yours at 19, well, if this is a card I'm not wanting to sell, let's just say it's something I'm going to PC and I want to just keep it into a slab. I don't have to. Why am I going to pay PSA? What does it matter? I don't care about the value of the card. I just want to get it into a slab. Like, I'm going to go with the cheaper company, Yeah. And Mike has a good point. Worst part about PSA is the turnaround time. So with that bulk order, the bulk order that me and Mike were looking at sending cards in, it's like a 65-day turnaround on average.
Yep.
You know, and if you are a business person and like what you do, Josh, where you are looking to sell, if you don't send in your cards at the right time and get them back, you might look at a situation where, crap, dude, like, yeah, I got this card back, but now the value is that maybe he got hurt, you know, in between while you're waiting 2 months for it to get back. And that's on average. It could even take even longer. So
and me, I don't even prefer PSA. I like the smaller people that actually care about the hobby. The one, I mean, PSA is really a money grab if you think about it. Do they really care about the hobby, or do they care about you sending in 100 cards and making thousands of dollars on you? You know, I don't like PSA. I mean, the logo is just kind of plain. I get it; they're more reputable, but I mean, HGA, they no extra charge. They customize the logo to match the card and do all this cool stuff. I mean, the new one I just told you about, FCG, they 10-day turnaround or your money back. PSA is never going to offer you that, you know.
Nah.
So when I'm looking at slabs and people go, well, it's not PSA. Well, who really cares? Like, these people actually care about the hobby. I'd rather go here.
Well, the only people that really care is PSA is usually the people that are trying to flip them and invest in it and then flip it again, because they know that's when you're going to get you're going to get more money usually out of the PSA slab than any other slab out there. So that's really who really cares about that stuff.
You know, another thing that bothers me a lot too about grading, and I don't know why this happens like this, but you know, with PSA, you have either you're going to get a 10 or you're going to get a 9. There's no in between. The one thing I do like about some of the other companies is that they do give you a 9.5. So the one thing is the difference in the selling price between a 10 and a 9 is ridiculous. So I think I might have talked about this last week. I can't remember. So there was I was comping a Ronald Acuna card I was looking at buying, right? The guy had a 10 and it was going for $100, right? And that's what it was comping at. I turned around and looked at a 9. Guess how much the last 9 site sold for? Okay, a 10 sold for 100.
Yeah, probably.
Guess how much?
$$30.
$1,750.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And
that's absolutely crazy.
I don't get it, because it could be the smallest little thing is going to take it from a 10. You know what I mean? It could be like on the backside. It might have a very, very, very soft corner. Very soft corner. Or the centering maybe even on the backside is like a little bit more than like 55-45, right? Just like to where like you really have to look at the card to see why it didn't grade a 10. And to me, why should that drop the value down? I mean, what that drops the value down like what, like 85%? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, these cards are not always going to be perfect, and I've even seen some cards I've looked at them and they've graded a 10, and I've been like, this should not be a 10. You know, you can see a little bit off centering, but then there's some 9s where I'm like, I don't get it. This should be a 10. Like, looking at the card, you can't find really a flaw. There's no soft corners. The centering looks good. You know, and that's another thing, like what you said, you know, about the whole, you know, some of these other guys are telling you what's wrong with it. Well, I mean, was there like a fingerprint on the surface that gave me a 9 that maybe I missed cleaning the card before I send it in, and that's why you gave me a 9? Maybe the card's perfect other than that little fingerprint that I missed. And you're gonna tell me, that's the reason that a card should drop 85%. It's ridiculous. And look, Jared. Jared has a good point right there. You know, 9 is basically this is a raw card in today's market. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So like with my stuff, the cards that I'm not going to send in, cards that I know for sure will not sell, you know, as a 10, if I send them in, they won't grade that. I'll just sell them raw, and I'll look at what like a 9.5 goes for, and that's what I'll try to sell them at, you know. But I don't know who started this market as to how it goes like that, the difference, but a 9 doesn't bother me. If I'm a collector, or even if I'm buying, a 9 doesn't bother me. Now, if we start dropping below a 9, then I know that there's like actual issues with the card.
Yeah.
But a 9 and a 10 can almost basically be the same exact card. So I could see maybe like 30-35% drop.
Yep.
But not an 80 100+% drop. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then again, guys, we got 4 people watching right now. So, I mean, we are live. This will post on Tuesday on YouTube and Spotify and all that good stuff. So drop a follow, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know you're here. But what else do you guys got? Anything else?
I'm good for today. I think next week I'll have some prospects. Since it's going to start being baseball and it'll be Super Bowl next week, I think I'm going to go ahead and just start diving into baseball and start getting people warmed up for baseball.
Well, keep in mind, so sorry to cut you off, Josh, but next week, a special announcement, we have a special guest. So D's Cards on TikTok, he's a partner with Divine Breaks. He's got that really awesome roulette game. He will be our special guest next week. So he's going to come on and we're going to have fun with him. I'll let him know we want to talk about some prospects and kind of want to dig into his roulette game and question him about a lot of that. It's going to be a really fun episode. So he will be here next week. And then, what time next week was Super Bowl? We're doing it on Saturday, Mike. So next week, Saturday, 7:00, same time. Because whoever puts this together decided to schedule it on a Super Bowl Sunday. Who does that?
Yeah.
He's got to be some guy named Lucky or something. I don't know why he would do that.
I'll say this. I think next week we should all have like a couple crazy picks for the game since we're going on Saturday. We're gonna be live, obviously. So have a couple crazy prop bets for the game, whether it's like the flip of the coin or the national anthem, how long they sing it for, whatever it is. Maybe we have like 1 or 2.
All right, how about this? Let's do a little competition. Let's Lucky, pull some of the bets that Vegas has, some of the off the wall bets. Like, is it like how long? I think it's like how long is the national anthem going to go?
Yeah.
I think they had the over and under. Just get some crazy stuff going, and let's do a little friendly bet next week. Let's see who can get the most right.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
Get like 10 of them, 10 picks throughout the whole game, and we'll see who picks the most right out of the 10.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that. I'm done with that. And
that's cool.
And I'm gonna make those bets with free money. You know how I'm gonna do that? Because I schooled Scotty and all his friends in that fantasy, so I got about $100 I could play with for some bets next week. So
there you go.
Thanks for that, Scotty. Thank you for your donation. Remember, I told you I'm like the Thanos of fantasy sports. I just collect all the rings.
Well, I think next year we have a Judgment 10 fantasy league. So it's gonna be us 3. And we'll get maybe we'll do like a 10-team league or whatever it is, and we'll get like 7 lucky guests off the Judgment 10, and we'll have a little fantasy league inside the Judgment 10 podcast.
Yeah, I like that. And then whoever wins, if someone beats us, then they can be a special guest on the podcast.
I like that. Yeah. Yep.
No, you know what? Let's how about if a guest wins us 3, we'll go thirds like on some type of hobby box for them.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, we've been up it a little bit. I like that a lot. Yep.
Up that a little bit. Yeah, that'd be crazy. So, all right then, boys. Well, we will see you next week, Saturday, 7:00. Special guest D's Cards from Divine Breaks will be here, and then make sure you subscribe and follow. You could also be a monthly supporter. The description box will be in the link will be in the description box below, so that you can we could bring you better content and whatever else you want to see. So, all right, boys. Well, it was a good show.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Great.
See you next week.
We'll see you next Saturday.
Right,
Bye.